My mother's name was Eva Marie Kane. She was a very vibrant woman when she was younger. She was a homemaker. She raised 4 children, was a good mother, was a very loving mother. When I made the decision to move her closer to me, she was 76 years old at that time. She was a wanderer, as most Alzheimer patients are, and had become incontinent, had lost her voice. She could barely mutter yes or no. So I made the decision to move her to a home in Sacramento. She was there for 32 days and ultimately died. I don't think that she died because of the Alzheimer's. I don't think that she died because of old age. My mother died as a result of the care that she was given in this nursing home that she was in for a mere 32 days.
I want to go home. I want to go home. Get back my teeth. I want to go home. Get me my teeth. I want to go home. Where are my teeth? I want to go home. Get my teeth. Get my teeth. Let me go home. No, don't put me in here. Home. No, don't put me in. No. No, I want to go home. Let me go home. Home. Let me out of here. Let me out.
As a mandated reporter of elder and dependent adult abuse, you are in a unique position. You are the person who is entrusted with the day-to-day health and welfare of some of the most vulnerable among us. But beyond that, you are responsible to help protect these special people from anyone who would abuse them.
Abuse, neglect, or violence of any kind is illegal and should never be part of any caregiving situation. California law requires this training so that you will fully understand your legal duties and better provide the care and protection that the residents of your facility deserve.
I just need a little help here. I just need some help. Don't take my button away. Don't take my button away.
They are silent crimes, hidden crimes, and sadly, crimes that affect millions of victims and their families.
To help protect elders and dependent adults, California law requires that certain individuals are mandated to report incidents of known or suspected abuse.
A lot of people don't realize they are mandated reporters. Those that call us are normally those that are concerned with the outcome or with the welfare of the residents within the facilities. When they find out they're mandated reporters, that's usually a double shock to them.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse, and that's true in this case. If you do not know that you should report, I am going to say you should have known. You know, there's plenty of training available. It is your responsibility to find out what the laws are and then be a responsible reporter.
As a mandated reporter, it is your individual legal duty to report all known or suspected abuse of elders and dependent adults.
Reporting responsibilities under the law are individual. If there is a particular policy within the institution in which you work and it requires you to report to a certain person, that's fine. They can have any kind of policy they want for reporting, so long as it doesn't interfere with your individual obligation to report. If that incident isn't reported, then you, the person who had the obligation to report, could be in trouble. You could be charged with a crime.
All employees of a facility are required to report abuse, and that means the janitor or a cook who just happens to be walking down a hall and witnesses abuse are mandated to report it. Now remember, as a mandated reporter, you must report if, 1, you have been told of an incident by an elder or dependent adult, or 2, you have observed or have knowledge of an incident that reasonably appears to be abuse, or 3, you reasonably suspect that an incident has occurred.
Simply put, you are a mandated reporter, and it is your individual legal duty to report known or suspected incidents of abuse.
Leaving you here while we take care of your room.
Are you okay?
As a mandated reporter, the first thing you need to know is that elders, dependent adults, or adults with disabilities are all protected by California's mandated reporter law. Physical abuse includes hitting, biting, kicking, slapping, pinching, rape, incest, sodomy, or the withholding of food and water. It also includes any unreasonable restraint by physical or chemical means. Over-medication, under-medication, or the withholding of medication is also abuse. Possible signs of physical abuse can include unusual scratches, skin tears, bruises, or welts. Also, any injuries caused by biting, cutting, pinching, or twisting of limbs. Additionally, burns or blistering and torn or bloody undergarments are indicators.
You know, there are many physical abuse cases that we prosecute. One involved a worker in a facility. That facility worker actually struck the patient. The patient revealed this to another worker who in turn made a report, and that's how we found out about that case and were able to prosecute.
Neglect is another form of abuse you must report. It is defined as the failure to assist in personal hygiene or provide food. Neglect also includes failure to provide proper medical care and the failure to protect a resident from health and safety hazards. Some indicators of neglect can be soiled linen or clothing, untreated skin disorders or rashes, neglected bed sores, dehydration, malnutrition, unkempt or dirty appearance, and failure to provide dentures, hearing aids, eyeglasses, or medication.
There was a case that involved patients who were suffering from dehydration due to extreme heat exposure. A facility person reported that patients were suffering. They felt that it was wrong. They felt that this was an abusive situation. And because of that, law enforcement responded, emergency medical teams all responded. When that was reported, that greatly facilitated stopping the suffering of I don't know how many other patients if the condition would have continued on.
Financial abuse can be just as serious as other forms of abuse. It can remove all the safety and comfort that the victim has and puts them in a position of far greater vulnerability. Indicators can include the disappearance of papers or checkbooks, staff members assisting with credit card purchases or ATM withdrawals, lack of grooming items or clothing, staff using residents' personal items, and bills left unpaid when funds are available.
I had a case of an elderly female who lived in a long-term care facility, and she had allowed one of the workers there to cash checks for her. When she finally got her bank statement, she recognized there was more activity in the account than she had authorized. She confided in another employee at the facility, who then reported that to us. The conclusion of this case was that the mandated reporter acted appropriately and did what they were supposed to do, started the ball rolling, got law enforcement involved, and the victim got justice because the suspect was arrested.
Other forms of reportable abuse are isolation, acts that keep a resident from receiving mail, phone calls, or contact with family, friends, and other concerned individuals, and abandonment, the deserting of an elder or dependent adult. One other form of abuse you need to know about doesn't involve staff or family. It is resident-to-resident abuse.
Resident-to-resident abuse is when one resident in a facility abuses another resident in the same facility in any way, whether it's physical, mental, or financial.
As with all other forms of abuse, resident-to-resident abuse is illegal and must be reported.
Staff in facilities are reluctant to report resident-to-resident abuse, partially because they do not understand that it has to be reported, and they think that abuse is only reportable if it's a staff person or possibly a family member that's abusing the patient.
These patients are very frail typically. They have a lot of medical issues, and just simply being pushed over or pushed out of bed or pushed in the shower or something like that can be life-threatening. And so that has to be a consideration of the staff when they're looking at resident-on-resident abuse.
Remember, all residents in your facility are protected by California's mandated reporter law, no matter what form the abuse takes and whether it is intentional or unintentional. Abuse is illegal and must be reported.